Powell update. The latest details on the murder-suicide shows the boys had to endure more than just fire at the hands of their father.
Neighborhood rocked. West Valley City residents are in shock and disgust at the Powell family tragedy.
And kid communication. Learn how therapists use playtime to find out what's really going on with children. I'm Anna Hayes.
And I'm Angela Montier. It's Tuesday, February 7th, and in Utah, it's 12 o'clock.
From KBYU and the BYU Department of Communications. This is the award-winning 11 News at noon.
First, a word of caution. Our lead story this noon has some graphic details that some might find disturbing, especially for children. The parents of missing West Valley woman Susan Cox Powell warned Washington State Police that Josh Powell might be violent. And the latest update in the murder-suicide case shows us just how right they were. The autopsy shows that Josh Powell bludgeoned and chopped the boys around the neck and head before setting off the fire that killed them all. Police found a hatchet next to the burned bodies. The boys had been in Chuck and Judy Cox's custody for several months, and they say they were worried all along that Josh would do something desperate. Chuck Cox shows the bedroom where his grandsons had been living for the last few months.
It's senseless, slaughter to innocent children.
For Chuck Cox, there are no words to describe his grief. Having just seen his grandsons, 7-year-old Charlie and 4-year-old Braden, less than an hour before their father, Josh Powell, murdered them in his own home.
We're just doing everything we could do to make him happy and have him have as normal life as possible with their mom gone.
He says the two boys were becoming more affectionate with their grandparents every day.
I couldn't sit down without them being on my lap, and they were very affectionate and loving and were just having a great time.
And they did not want to see their father Josh when the CPS worker came to pick them up.
And they were having a good time. They didn't want to stop and go see Daddy today. They seemed to be losing interest in going to see him.
Chuck Cox says he warned police, social workers, lawyers, and anyone else who would listen that he felt Josh Powell might try something this desperate.
We felt that if Josh felt that there was no hope, that he was losing and going to end up in jail or something, and that he would do something very desperate and could possibly harm the children and take them with him in a murder-suicide thing. Well, there you go.
Josh Powell's sister is now saying that he left her a voicemail before starting the fire. In it, he told her he couldn't live without his sons and he couldn't go on any longer.
The sad events in Washington have had a devastating impact on the Powell's former neighborhood here in Utah. 11 News reporter Corey Aldis visited West Valley City to find out how the neighborhood is handling this news. Corey, this is such a sad story. How is the community taking it?
Yeah, there was definitely a somber mood that I could sense with everyone I spoke with. A lot of the former friends and neighbors were upset, and they worried that they may never get an answer to their questions.
West Valley City is reeling from the loss of Charlie and Braden Powell, and stunned that their father could do such a thing. The fire Sunday night added more pain to an already hurting community.
It was shock, it was disbelief, just pit in the stomach, just kind of emptiness.
Mad. Why would somebody do that to their own kids? The kids didn't do nothing wrong. The kids are just kids. You don't hurt a kid.
West Valley City Police have been searching for the boy's mother, Susan, for more than 2 years. Now with the added death of her two sons, those who knew them continue to look for answers.
I felt sorry for the boys and the family. We've all still been out there searching for her and looking for her and trying to, find answers to what's happened.
I feel like the case is left open, and I really hope that the police will now open up and let the family and friends have some kind of closure to how close they were at finding out where Susan's at or what happened to her.
Lawyers for Susan's parents say the two boys were finally starting to speak up about what happened the night of Susan's disappearance. Arresting Josh Powell may have provided answers, but his death and the death of his two sons leave nothing but unresolved questions on Sarah Circle in West Valley.
The Powell's former community has not given up hope for finding Susan Powell. Currently, West Valley City Police say that despite the death of Josh Powell and his two sons, that they're going to continue to search for answers in hopes that they can solve this tragic case of her disappearance. Live from the newsroom, Corey Aldis, 11 News.
Yeah, it seems like nothing but more and more questions. Thanks so much, Corey.
An American Fork man who originally faced assault charges now faces a homicide charge. Police arrested 24-year-old Ian McNeil, saying he struck Trenton Hall once in the head outside an American Fork bar. Hall lingered a week in the hospital, but eventually died from the injuries. Police are still trying to figure out how the fight started. A female jogger is healing from minor injuries after a man raped her on the Provo River Trail last night. Police say it was around 9 p.m. when she was grabbed at knife point and dragged off the trail. The man cut her several times while assaulting her. She described her attacker as 6'1", 190-pound man with black sweatpants and shoes. And two robbers are on the run after getting more than just a Whopper Jr. from the University Avenue Burger King. Two men robbed the restaurant last night with a baseball bat and a 9mm handgun. Police say they forced the manager and two employees to empty the safe. The thieves also got away with cash from the register, a cell phone, and an iPad.
Some breaking news this morning. A federal court has ruled that California's Proposition 8 violates the federal Constitution. California voters passed the proposition in 2008, making gay marriage illegal in the state. Today's 2-to-1 ruling means that same-sex marriages could resume, but it's not clear when exactly that could happen. Lawyers for Proposition 8's sponsors say they will appeal the court's decision. Pictures of former LDS Church prophet President Gordon B. Hinckley's face are not uncommon on BYU campus, but they're usually not in the form of graffiti. These pictures spray painted on the South Campus stairs have inspiring words next to the faces telling viewers to be grateful and to be happy. University crews have worked on erasing the graffiti, but the faces are still lightly visible and preaching.
It's kind of fun. Still to come on 11 News at noon. Playtime Psyche. Toys and coloring can tell therapists more than you think.
And Cardboard Castle. See how BYU students' smarts and recyclable products leads the world in a world record. We'll be right back.
They may be little, but children can feel just as much stress as adults. Yet finding a way to heal can be difficult with child-level communication skills. 11 News reporter Kara Teo shows us how play can help children heal.
Play. Every child does it. And for children experiencing stress or trauma, this everyday childhood activity can also act as a form of therapy. Play is a child's language, and this little girl demonstrates how play therapy gives kids a chance to create themes and work out what is bothering them.
Unconsciously, they know what needs to happen for them to heal. The child knows what their story is, and the unconscious knows what the metaphor is, what the symbols are.
At the child's first session, the therapist takes them by the hand and leads them into one of several fully stocked playrooms.
It usually takes the child several minutes to warm up. Therapists tell kids the playroom is a safe place and the toys are anything they want them to be.
Remember, in the playroom, you get to decide.
The therapist describes the play but never breaks the metaphor.
2 spiders on my arms.
Children unconsciously create themes like using sand and water to represent dirtying and cleansing.
When a child picks something up, we don't define that for them, because once I say this is what it is and this is what it does, I've erased all sense of imagination.
As an observer, I can see how that play can really help a kid heal.
Kids work through problems by playing out the same theme week after week, and the therapists say that when the story ends, healing begins. In Orem, Kara Teo, 11 News.
The therapist Kara spoke with says dealing with issues early on can help decrease health problems later in life. Students took a cold walk to the Marriott Center this morning to hear a devotional from one of BYU's chemical engineering professors. Thomas H. Fletcher is currently the director of the Advanced Combustion Engineering Research Center, and he encourages students to look to their ancestors' experiences as a guide in their own lives. He used his own grandfather as an example.
We each have wonderful ancestors that have had experiences to teach us about life. And I draw from these two people because of their influence in my life, as well as the contrasts and similarities of their lives.
He pointed to examples from both of his grandfathers, one of which is a noted scientist, Harvey Fletcher.
A caucus in Colorado, Minnesota, and Missouri, a mysterious illness in New York, and a controversial political ad in Michigan. Here's a look at the news around the nation.
When the nation faces
the four Republican presidential hopefuls are duking it out in 3 different states today. They're hoping to win the hearts and pens of voters in Colorado and Minnesota's caucuses and Missouri's non-binding primary. Surveys show Mitt Romney trailing in Missouri and Minnesota, but project him to win the Colorado caucus. At least 18 young people in Leroy, New York are suffering from a mysterious illness. It makes them twitch uncontrollably. The scare has some people claiming it could be caused by a chemical spill from the 70s, but doctors say that's unlikely. Others worry it's coming from the high school, but the health department says the school is perfectly safe.
Thank you, Michigan Senator Debbie Spend It Now. Debbie spends so much American money. You borrow more and more from us. Your economy get very weak. Ours get very good. We take your jobs.
This political ad for former Michigan Congressman Pete Hoekstra aired during the Super Bowl and is stirring up some major controversy. Hoekstra is now running for Michigan's Senate seat against Democrat Debbie Stabenow and used this racially accented ad to criticize her spending record. A group of Baptist ministers are calling it racist and stereotypical. They're asking Hoekstra to apologize and pull the ad off the air. And that's your look at news from around the nation. Angela, back to you.
Thanks, Anna. It's official. BYU owns another world record, this time for a cardboard house. More than 50 BYU students made it using 734 cardboard boxes. The record of 556 used to be held by Harvard University, but BYU's Eco Response Club erased their names from the record books in a nationwide recycling competition. Pretty cool. 111 News at Noon returns. Bonkers for basketball. Not every BYU basketball star plays in the Marriott Center, but see where they hoop it up. Frozen Tebow mania. One fan pays tribute to his favorite player in a very unusual way.
Talk about taking Frosty the Snowman to a whole nother level. Will we be making any snowmen anytime soon here in Provo? I'll have your 11 News weather when we return.
Kiko, when I left my house this morning, it was 19 degrees outside.
It's pretty cold, but is it going to snow, Kiko?
Yeah. We'll see. We have a slight chance of it. Cool. Taking a look outside right now, the sky is clear. The mountains still have a bit of dusting of snow on them, but overall we will get a lot of sunshine today, so that's a good thing. Currently outside right now we're in our 30s, 32 degrees. Our humidity is at 55%, and our wind speeds are quite calm right now. They're only at 6 miles per hour. What we can expect tonight, though, is a drop in temperature. We will be hitting the high 20s, but it won't be too cold. We'll have a low of 29 degrees. It'll be mostly cloudy. We will have a low wind blowing through, only at 7 miles per hour, so it won't be too much. And our sunset is coming in at 5:52 p.m. Taking a larger picture of what's going on, we see the storm system right here. It's broken up, though, which we don't typically see in west storm systems that will be coming over to the east. So California coast was getting most of this. They're getting rain in both northern and southern California. By the time it reaches Utah, it'll be broken up and not too much affected by it. Taking a closer look at Utah, our Utah highs, we start in Logan at high 37. We make our way into the 40s, and of course down into southern Utah with a high of 54 in St. George. With their 5-day forecast, they'll be getting a lot of clouds, but also a lot of sun. We start out on Tuesday and Wednesday, 53 and 57, mostly cloudy. We'll start to clear up towards the end of the week, Thursday, Friday, and even Saturday with a high of 62 and a low of 34. Up in northern Utah, today it'll get more sunny. We'll hit 44 degrees. We'll only have a 30% chance of rain and snow on Wednesday, not too much. Thursday and Friday will clear up, and Saturday it's only a slight percent chance of rain, so nothing too big to worry about.
That's okay with me.
That sounds good. Thanks so much, Kiki.
You're welcome.
Well, turning our attention to sports, our BYU basketball team had some big wins this last week, but Bridget, what else is going on in sports?
They did. Next on sports, they may get all the attention, but the BYU basketball teams aren't the only ones hooping it up on the hardwood. And a Harvard grad point guard proves to be too much for the Jazz and the Big Apple. Sports is next. Stay tuned. Two steals away from a triple-double, and you're bound to get noticed. And Brandon Davies is. The West Coast Conference named Davies Player of the Week for the second time this season. The Cougar forward averaged over 16 points and 9 rebounds last week with 18 points, 13 rebounds, and a career-best 8 steals against Portland on Saturday. And not everyone can be Brandon Davies, but with more than 6 organized basketball leagues in the Provo-Orem area, there's plenty of opportunities to try. 11 sports reporter Emmanuel Na took a look at this organized basketball craze. Emmanuel, how do you explain this madness?
The explanation is that these basketball leagues have given students a chance to relive their glory days. And whether it costs $25 or $500, they're excited to compete for something more.
There's something that drives people to want to play an organized league because it just seems to mean more, have more value.
Organized basketball leagues have become the thing to do during the winter months, and some students even find themselves playing for more than one team.
Right now I'm playing in 2 paid-to-play basketball leagues, and last year I played in 3.
Paid-to-play basketball leagues, I'm in 3.
I am in 3 paid-to-play basketball leagues right now.
Whether it's for an intramural program at BYU or UVU, a city league, or a local security company, the possibilities are endless. And most students say they find themselves playing to be around friends and for the love of the game.
I think I decided playing these leagues because number 1, it's fun. Number 2, I get to play with my friends. Number 3, I get to compete.
BYU intramural director Phil Kelly says that recreation is a part of learning, and that part of the success of these organized leagues is that it gives students an opportunity to unwind.
People who focus solely on academic studies or solely on work are going to burn out. You know, the old phrase of all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. It also can kind of kill your senses. You have to have balance in your life.
So whether you're really good or not so good and just looking to escape the books, there's an organized basketball league for you. You can catch these gymmer hopefuls every day of the week at a gym near you, or join them by checking out your university's intramural website. Bridget?
Thanks, Emmanuel. It was a long night in the Big Apple for the Jazz, with Amari Stoudemire in Florida mourning the death of his brother and Carmelo Anthony out after 6 minutes with a groin injury. The Knicks got help from some unexpected places. Undrafted Knicks point guard Jeremy Lin led his team with a career-high 28 points in his first career start, impressing even these NFL champions. Center Al Jefferson led the Jazz with 22 points, and the Jazz came within 2 at the end of the third. But Lin and the Knicks were just too hot to handle, even without Amari and Carmelo. The Jazz are in Indiana tonight to play in Gordon Hayward's home state, so hopefully they can get a win there.
Yeah. Hopefully it'll feel maybe kind of like a home court advantage for him, so we can pull out the win.
Yeah, it'd be nice to get a win after last night's loss. So
yeah, for sure.
Thanks, Bridget.
No problem.
Still to come on 11 News at noon. Tebow Tower. A lot of pride and a little snow becomes a tribute to one man's favorite player. We'll be right back.
Well, the Denver Broncos didn't make it to the Super Bowl this year, but Tim Tebow did get a nice statue of himself. Tracy Fox and his family made the giant snow figure as a tribute to Mr. Tebow himself. The tower is as tall as a garage, and Fox thinks it took 10 tons of snow to make. The neighbors are loving it and come over to take pictures. This isn't the first time the Foxes have made snow structures. They also made a Viking sculpture when they lived in Minnesota.
Okay, I don't even know much about football.
We're just trying it. We thought we'd be
part of the crowd.
So this is what it's like with Tebow. It's cool.
I feel the difference.
I'd be really honored if someone made a huge snow thing of me doing my Tebow pose.
Well, around BYU campus, I feel like if you're going to make a snow structure, Jimmer. That's 11 News at noon for Tuesday, February 2nd.
You can join us anytime on our website, 11news.byu.